Julia Stiles isn't just a fine actress. She is an incredible person, if you ask me. She's a Columbia graduate. She's in hot movies. And now, for the first time, she stepped behind the cameras to make a short film playing at the Tribeca Film Festival called Raving. I don't know where you got the time to see us or where you got the time to sleep, but you're the busiest person I know. Congratulations on a fine film.
Thank you very much.
Now, when you make your first film as a director, and it's a short, I know it's going to go to the Sundance Channel after that, but is that kind of a vehicle for you to have the opportunity to make another film, or where can people see it after in a theater, or is it not going to play anywhere after Tribeca?
After Tribeca, it'll be on the Sundance Channel May 8th, and then I think it'll be online on iTunes.
Right.
You can download it, or it'll be at the Elle website, because Elle Magazine produced it.
Right, and they came to you. Did they come to you out of the blue? I hadn't heard any public expression of a desire to direct on your part.
No, I didn't. Every director that I've worked with is so stressed out by the end of a movie. I thought it's so much easier to just leave it in somebody else's hands. But Elle approached me and said they wanted to do a series of short films and would I write and direct something. And I had been taking a lot of writing classes at school, so it was kind of on my mind, and I thought it was a great opportunity. So,
was it the way you thought it would be? Once the cameras roll, you can hear the money piling up, and you've got a budget, and you've got actors that are going at your command. Was it the experience you thought it would be?
It was thrilling. It was absolutely thrilling and terrifying at the same time because it was so important to me. It was my own project, and you know, it was a great learning experience. Even now, I'm still learning from post-production things. You know, when you're acting on a movie, you just show up on set and you have your job to focus on. But directing, you have to pay attention to the budget. You have to pay attention to all the crew members. You have to pay attention to, you know, all every detail down to like the prop that is the pencil that's being brought to set that day that's going to be used in a shot.
Zooey Deschanel is a star. She plays a young street grifter, if you want to call her that, and she has this relationship with Bill Irwin, and it's a very unusual relationship. And you wrote the screenplay, and it's based in part on a woman you encountered on the street, right? Mm-hmm. She was panhandling, and had a sob story, as we say. And
well, when Elle Magazine asked me to write a story, it was sort of a blank slate, so I just wandered around New York City looking for ideas, and this girl. It was sort of serendipitous for me, not for her, but she stopped me and was hysterically crying and asked for money, saying she needed to get home. And after thinking about that, I thought she was lying. But I wondered why, you know, what would prompt her to do that? You know, what circumstances would make her so desperate to be putting on such an act? And so my imagination kind of ran wild.
Did you ever have the temptation to play the part yourself? Or you knew that the first time you're directing, you'd better stick to one job? Yeah,
no, I didn't want to play this part because also I wanted to have a lot of jazz music in it and have the character sing, and I can't sing, so I knew Zoe had a great voice.
Yeah, she works with a band and she has a musical background. When you're finished with it, is there a moment when you say, oh, I wish I could have done it this way, or did you have the freedom to do several takes and the budget to do that, or did you realize, I would try to get this on the first scene?
Well, I mean, there's always obstacles when you're shooting, and you always have to. You're always giving up. You're always making sacrifices, but you kind of have to keep thinking ahead and forward. You can't look back and say, you know, oh, I wish I had gotten that shot. You have to fix what.
How long was the shooting schedule?
4 days. It was really tight. It was really. We had like 3 or 4 company moves in one day. My crew was amazing. They had to run from the East River up 5 flights of stairs to a rooftop in Chinatown, all like, you know, light dependent on dawn and then sunset, and they were just amazing.
I asked Ed Burns when he was shooting The Brothers McMullen, what was it like getting the, as we call it here in New York, the permit, not the permit, the permit to shoot. Now, his father was a detective, and he was able to close down streets much more easier than if he had not been a detective, and he had that advantage. Did you have to go through all the paperwork of shooting in New York and all that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I had a great locations manager who kind of dealt with that, but you know, I wanted to shoot on the Manhattan Bridge, for instance, and we couldn't do that because they were doing construction. And I wanted to shoot in a certain park, and we couldn't get permission for that. But you kind of figure out creative ways to get around that.
Bill Irwin is he's a mime, he's a lot of different things, and he's very good at acting when there's no dialogue. Why did you pick him? Was that those part of the qualities?
I saw him in Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf with Kathleen Turner, and he was terrific, so I'd always been a fan. And I thought he was perfect for the part because he's got that sort of iconic businessman look, but he also was a very physical actor. He was terrific.
You have quick flashbacks, as I recall. You know, that's something that they say, you know, they should be done with a lot of caution. You can fall into many pitfalls by using flashbacks. Were you at all concerned about that?
I don't generally like long flashbacks in movies, but because I thought it was just sort of a glimpse into someone's memory and something very, very quick, I wanted it to be that kind of stylized.
you're going from a picture like this to The Bourne Ultimatum, which is going to be one of the biggest, or Ultimatum, is going to be one of the biggest films of the summer, I'm sure. What's the difference in craft services, first of all, on your film?
No, we didn't have craft service. Oh, no, we did. I should say that.
What did you feed them, boxed lunches?
Oreo cookies versus, like, you know, well, actually, The Bourne Ultimatum we're shooting in London, and the British aren't big on craft service either.
Right, nor on food. Your character, Nikki's going to have a lot more to do, I'm told, in this film.
It's more complicated what I have to do. She has to choose, you know, whether she's going to stay with the CIA or not, and so her situation gets more complicated.
Here's a rhetorical question. Did you have to choose whether you're going to stay with the Bourne franchise, or no matter what the script was, if it was halfway decent, you said, I'm there?
Well,
notice the segue, right?
Yeah. No, I only was comfortable with not knowing how the script was going to turn out and committing to it because of Paul Greengrass and because of Matt Damon and because of Frank Marshall, all the people that are involved in it, and they're all very creatively involved.
Do you prepare differently for an action movie like this as opposed to, well, the remake of The Omen, which you did, which is psychological thriller, and there are physical moments in that too, but you prepare differently if the film has a lot of action sequences?
No, because I think one of the things that makes the Bourne franchise good is that they're still very psychological, they're still very smart, and so the characters are very much based in reality, and the action is sort of peripheral. Let's
hope you, make a fourth Bourne movie. Let's say the third one. I know it's supposed to be a trilogy, but if it earns $300 million, they'll be called for a fourth one. Could you be doing this?
As long as there's a story and the same creative team involved, I'd be happy to do it.
You've shot in Morocco, in Spain, and I saw the word Iceland on your resume. I mean, all sorts of places like that. Are you able to quickly put that out of your mind and let the work in hand come and see the exotic background, take hold as another character, or are you always aware that you're in a place completely, you're a New Yorker. I mean, it's completely far away from it. It's always got to be a different set of gears when you're shooting someplace like that.
It's kind of great, though, because it's a blank slate. Like, your life at home, you can kind of put aside and get wrapped up in being whatever character you're playing.
When you were shooting, did a teacher send you, when you were in school, assignments, or how did you keep up when you were in school? I mean, you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah. No, Columbia was great. They do this thing where you can defer each semester. So as long as I knew that I was going to work on a movie, I would defer my semester so I wasn't in school at the same time, and then I'd go back and just focus on school.
Now, that's why you were a 5-year graduate and you weren't off slacking on a beach somewhere. You were busy working, right?
Yeah, I was on the 5-year plan.
You went to professional children's school. You had an unusual childhood, but I think from what I know about you, a grounded one, a really normal one as far as can be. But that's pretty hard when you have the unusual career that you had as a child, isn't it?
Well, I didn't really start working regularly in film or television until I was a senior in high school. And before that, I was working with this theater company, but it was sort of like an after-school activity, and I was just sort of the kid in the company. But
when the shooting stopped in between shots on the Bourne Ultimatum, do you and Matt Damon is a huge Red Sox fan. Did you replay the '86 World Series, which you were only 4 years old when it was played? Do you talk baseball with him? Because he's like you. I know you're a Met fan. He's a huge fan.
He is, and luckily the Mets made it further into the season last year when we were shooting in Morocco.
Tell me about it.
So actually, there are a couple of other Mets fans on the crew, so we were ganging up on Matt. But I think that luckily the Mets made it further, and so when we were in Morocco shooting, it was the beginning of our shoot, we all were watching the championship series on this like streaming, buffering internet.
What's the secret to throwing out the first ball in front of 50,000 people? Throw it high, right?
Throw it high, yeah, and it's all about the release. It's all about letting go of the ball higher than you normally would, because otherwise, if you get it in the dirt, they're going to boo you.
This is Julia Stiles, who, so the story goes, showed a better arm than Keith Hernandez when she threw out the first ball. The movie is called The Raving. You can see it on the Sundance Channel. You can see it first at the Tribeca Film Festival, and she's coming in The Bourne Ultimatum and many more films after that. It's nice to see you again.
Thank you. It's great to see you.